Did you know that 73% of people have an almost morbid fear of public speaking? I'm SJ Harrison, voice and performance coach, and I help people turn these challenges into victories. Today's video is exactly as advertised. A voice and performance coach reacts to Danish Dhamani Ted Talk. Now, I've chosen this video because this month on my channel is all about how to give a great speech. And Danish not only does that in this TED Talk, but he also talks about overcoming his fear of public speaking. As a theatre professional, I love things that are meta. In other words, not only are we analyzing Danish's speech, but he's actually talking about his own fear of public speaking. Let's have a look.
My name is Danish, and my full-time job is to count people's ums and uhs and like. It all started at my first day of school, after my family moved from Pakistan to Tanzania. I was busy sketching my dream cars in my notebook, and all of a sudden I hear a voice in my direction.
Okay, so I'm stopping it at quite a cliffhanger. Many of my clients who are working in the US or in other English-speaking countries, but do not have the accent from the country that they're in, often feel awkward about it and may ask me, do I need to change my accent to be a good public speaker? Well, this is one of the reasons I've chosen this. You absolutely don't. I enjoy hearing Danish's accent, and I enjoy the fact that I can completely understand him. So all that this is about is clear speech. And think about his story. It's so much a part of his cultural experience and his lived experience living in different countries. He's opened with, I'm from Pakistan, and then I moved to Tanzania. And how did I feel there? The other thing that I want you to notice is the way in which he's gesturing. He's using very literal gestures to talk about what he's saying, talking with his hands about what he's conveying. He's presenting also to a group of kids. They're not super young, but they're still kids. And so he's thinking of his audience, that to draw them into the story, he's chosen, and perhaps this is generally his style, to almost act out what he's talking about. And I think it really works for him in this case. I think it draws us in right away. And now we want to find out what's going to happen next. So he also had some very simple opening statements of this story that led us to go immediately towards him and wonder, what were we going to learn next? Let's keep going.
How would you feel when a teacher puts you on the spot in this kind of situation? My mind went blank. My heart started racing. I kept quiet. I started hearing giggles in the classroom, and then tears ran down my cheek. That was the first time I felt the fear of speaking in front of others. The first time I felt the fear of public speaking.
So this is a very powerful moment, and again, touching and still simple. Now, the other thing that I want you to notice is the way in which his body changed when he talks about this. So let's just take it back a short while, and I want you to look at his breathing.
My mind went blank. My heart started racing. I kept quiet.
Okay, did you see that? So he allows himself to have something of the physical experience exhibited to us that he actually had in the moment. So he embodied that experience for his audience. He breathed a little bit like he would have been breathing in class. He talked about his heart. We could see this in the breathing. He took a pause. He took a few pauses. So the pace also changed. He became quiet in response to the mood he's setting, and he relived it a little bit in front of us. And I know that his audience, including myself, are now becoming even more drawn in.
Fast forward a few years, I was at college here in America. That fear still stuck with me. It was as though it was part of my soul. Now, when I was little, I had many other fears. I was afraid of the dark. the monsters under my bed, the cockroaches, and I don't mean the tiny cockroaches.
Okay, so he really gets into his stride here. Do you see how he's relaxed just a little bit more? Those opening moments, we couldn't really see his nerves, but looking back, I realized that he's just eased into the speech. So it's very natural when you're starting, no matter how experienced, to feel a little bit stiff at first. You're feeling out your audience, you're trying out your gestures as you've planned them, which is something he's done. These are quite planned gestures. And then he starts getting more into it. You see how he's gesturing and using his whole body. We only see his upper body here, but it's clear that he's using his whole body. I'm a real fan of the embodied performance, and TED Talks absolutely lend to this. You do not have a podium to lean on. You have a space, a large open space, and you need to fill it, and you need to make intentional movement around that space. He's very intentional with his movements, and this works really well. He's not just moving randomly. Every gesture means something. Again, he's using quite specific literal gestures, and you don't have to do that to be impactful. That's his choice. But those literal gestures are very well placed and very intentional, backing up what he's saying.
Which is here, but the big flying cockroaches I had back home in Pakistan and Tanzania. But I outgrew these fears. I overcame them as I grew older. But public speaking, no way. I was still afraid of it.
So he's done something else here. There's a diverse group of kids, and he's drawn them in by telling them a story that is so relatable about feeling out of it, feeling new in a class, feeling new in a country. So he's brought them in from the first part of the speech. Then he talks about his fear of public speaking, so we know what he's going to be talking about. We have that very impactful moment at the beginning. Then he goes into childhood fears. Again, something that is so relatable for his audience. And he's talking from the perspective of a young adult to kids. And he's saying, I'm an adult here, but I had all these fears. And they went as I grew older. But what didn't go was my fear of public speaking. Well, this is super encouraging for his audience. He's really connected to them on all kinds of levels. And now he's shown that he still has had a fear even when he's in college. And we really want him to succeed too. In a way, he's invited us into his own hero's journey. In a very simple and personal way, the audience, as you could see there, the audience of kids, are quite gripped.
To our problems, Google. I searched on Google how to overcome the fear of public speaking.
You may even have done that just now, right?
The first link told me about the great things I could be if I overcame this fear. Sound like a leader. Get a great job. Share your ideas. Give a TED Talk.
I'm going to just point out something here. It's relatively small, but he's doing a really great job of looking at different people in the audience. And even though we're not even in the audience, we're watching a video, there's something very connective about that. So he's able to look at his audience and connect human to human. He's not glazing them out in a kind of a wash. He's really connecting.
Change the world. The second link showed me all the different ways I could overcome this fear. Hire a speech coach. In front of the mirror. Do online courses. Attend public speaking clubs like Toastmasters. That's when I realized that I had it wrong all this time. I thought you were either born a public speaker or you're not. I was wrong. I realized that public speaking is actually a teachable skill. That means that if any one of you here wants to speak powerfully, like any of your famous public speakers, yes, you can.
Oh my God. This actually really moves me, and that may seem strange, but I think what I find so moving about this speech is his passion for this and the way that he's come from having so much fear to be able to share so fully of himself, and in such a lovely way. He's smiling, he's speaking from the heart, and of course, meta again, He's talking about something that means so much to me. This is one of the things that I want to tell everyone, is that these skills are learned. Public speakers are not born, they are made. And it's all about dedication and learning how to really share of yourself from your own authentic humanity in front of people. And that takes time. It's taken me time to be able to do this on video in front of you. And sometimes I'm quite presentational, but sometimes I'm also very authentic. But I couldn't always do that. Yes, I knew how to be an actor, but it was another thing to show up as myself on video. So I encourage you, because this is a lovely speech, it's really not that long, and I've already looked at quite a bit in detail, to find this speech and watch it. And just really look at what you like about it. And of course, if there's anything you don't. But he is really authentic to his style and he's really reaching his audience. So I'd like to remind you to like and subscribe to my channel. And you'll see that last month's videos are coming up below, mainly my playlist on public speaking skills. Have a look at that because all of last month was about public speaking. So the top videos that will come up will be relevant to public speaking, how to overcome those fears, and the skills that you need. Please like and subscribe, and here's to unlocking your performance power.